Man, if only Sung could access some higher level dungeons. Oh, hey, S rank from the Hunters Guild. Oh, excuse me, I had to pass you right by. Oh, hey, guy from the Tigers Guild. Like, all of these S rank hunters from these massive, massive guilds are all after him. And he's just like, man, I can't access really high level dungeons. How could I possibly access high level dungeons? Dang, better ignore all these people that literally want me in their guild right now. This is one of those moments where I get frustrated with Sung. Like, I did this a little bit with the first season where it's like, okay, we finally decided at this point we're going to make it public. Like, he literally went to that reassignment to go see if he can get a higher rank. It's done. Let's put it out in the public. And let's be honest, we all at this point know that everybody knows. This is the worst kept secret now. Literally everybody knows what Sung did, or they're at least piecing it together. I mean, this episode, Choi was basically piecing it together. Like, he's figuring it out. Oh, this whole like red, gate and everything like that. It's probably this guy. This Tiger Guild guy, he's totally after Sung. It's obviously him. We're finally putting out into public. We're going to finally get that reassignment. And again, pretty much go put it as, yeah, you've basically been assigned. At this point, you've been assigned. When you went in that room and touched that thing, you already have S rank. The whole thing about doing the reassessment to get a bigger machine to test your mana and everything like that, that's just for show. The only reason they put that delay there before he got his license is because Go wanted to meet him. But he's basically a S rank at this point. I'm kind of surprised that after he left there, he didn't just get the license. Maybe they have to print it. Anyways, he's finally putting it out there, and literally everybody wants him in their guild. Again, he's going to tip the scales. Go knows that. Once you join one of these guilds, you're going to tip the scales, and we're not going to have control. We've never really had control. But yeah, if everybody's after him, he's so much that he's going to tip the scales. Everybody wants him, but yet he still seems to ignore everybody. Now, I get the whole Hunters Association thing because he claims that they typically only get like E rank and D ranks that nobody else wants to do. The way they're kind of putting it, at least when I was checking the manhwa and kind of comparing it to the episode, it seems to put it more in the idea that the Hunters Association is really just kind of a cleanup crew. They're just like a cleanup crew. They're just like, if there's something that nobody else takes and they don't want it to kind of, the gate itself to mess up and, monsters to pour out, they're handling it. But they didn't really kind of claim that he couldn't get any dungeon. Now, that's the key thing there. And again, this is where I get into kind of my argument with Sung right now, where it's kind of a little bit of a frustration where I think that Sung has an issue with compromise. Like, this guy doesn't seem to compromise with things. Yes, for the longest time, he wanted to keep his head down. And that was why he created this whole system with Yo, as he wanted to find some way of getting a lot of dungeon and whatnot, getting some money or whatever, and getting stronger. Yo was basically his way of acquiring all those gates. But right here, you have essentially put yourself out in blast. Everybody knows. Like, the fact that he goes to this other raid at the later part of this episode and nobody still knows who he is, yes, kind of shows that this is like literally, it seems like the next day. I really do feel like Choi put this all together in order to get Sung, but the fact that nobody knows who he is, even though literally he created a scene. The idea of the 10th S rank of this area, of this country, is a massive thing. You would think that there would be like reports on television and everything, people would be going ballistic. But I guess they're kind of keeping it under wraps, or at least people don't want to report it yet, just because, again, Go, or at least the system of actually reassigning him, has made it out like, oh, we need to do another test. We need a bigger machine that will be able to test more mana, which again, Go states specifically, that's not really a thing. We just did that in order to, stall you for a little bit so that nobody headhunts you. But yeah, now that you have this point, everybody knows you've put it on blast. Why not compromise these people? Okay, so Choi walks in the door. Hey, Choi from, the Hunters Guild. Hey, yeah, I'll join you, but I want freedom. And I guarantee you, if you're one of 10 people in this country that is S rank, they're going to listen to you. Like, if you're that powerful and you've shocked people that much, you can compromise. Even with Go. Yes, I'll join you. I want that power and everything, but I want freedom. I want to be able to have the gates that I want. Work with these people. He's not a very good salesman. Let's just say that Sung's not a very good salesman. But anyways, overall, this episode, despite being a little bit frustrating there, it's not a really big deal. It's just that's one of those things that I've kind of noticed with Sung, or at least maybe just the writer. I think it is an aspect of Sung that he really doesn't want to rely on people. And I think that's a lot to do with the fact that he has gone so long being the ultimate weakest, whatever, which they brought up again in this episode. That his nickname came from the nickname that Choi has. That was kind of funny. I have noticed that I think because he was alone for so long and looked down upon for so long, he has a problem with sort of communicating with people, and negotiating is really what it is. He has a problem with the negotiating and really kind of speaking to people. And I think there's a lot to do with trust there that he doesn't really have there. I can see why he ran away from Bake, because I think with Bake, he believes that Bake is going to blame him for what happened to the members in the Red Gate. But even still, it's like, you have the negotiation table, boy. Anyways, I'll move back into that. The episode itself, pretty decent. I think they pretty much covered most of all that was in the manhwa. There was a couple things in there that I thought was very interesting that we'll get into as we go through the episode. But let's just kick it off. Yeah, opening up the episode. Again, he only needs one more ingredient for his ability to save his mom. And that's where he, decides to go ahead and reassess himself. Going over there, causing a big, massive panic. But yeah, he goes downstairs. Everybody's, again, confronting him. He's ignoring everybody. It was funny. There's a little bit of censorship in the anime adaptation, at least compared to the manhwa. And the idea that Choi, he likes to puff. The Choi is a puffer, which kind of fits for his kind of fire magic character. A lot of fire magic anime characters or magic users typically will have a little bit of puff, and they'll light that on fire. And so that whole scene where he was outside talking to Wu about the insects, and then again the Red Gate and everything like that, he's puffing his dick and he has to tap it out. And then later on in the episode, when he's in the dungeon, he uses his puff to light the fire and cast the spell. So I'm like, okay, so are they is this such a sensitive topic now with the puffing that we can't do that? I think it looks cool. It's not like I say that you should do that, but it's it still looks cool. And it's funny to see kind of the odd choices they make in censorship. You have literally people cutting each other in half, massive destruction. That assassin guy, Kang from the first season, literally was massacring people, but this is too offensive. This is too offensive. But no, that's when we get Go showing up. Go coming to recruit Sung to the Hunters Association. There was something to note that in the manhwa, there was a little bit more here with Wu. And the idea that, yes, when Sung first walks out, Wu says that, he thought that he was really good at spotting people. Yes, he's part of this, group that's supposed to observe people, keep tabs on hunters, because we're the only ones that can kind of keep them accountable, take down criminals. And yes, even noting here and admitting here that we have no power over S ranks. That's the problem that they've always had with the system. They have a group that is sole purpose is to manage the hunters, but they can only manage A ranks and lower. So it's even pointing out specifically that, yeah, we can keep order and everything, just not S ranks. S ranks get to do whatever they want. They've pretty much already pointed that out several times. Hwang is a prime example of that. This guy just seems like he's free to do whatever he wants to do. But it was interesting that he says that he thought that he's had a good eye, but he apparently overlooked Sung. And it seemed like it gave a sense that he feels bad about this. Dang, I always spot him. So who actually killed the boss of the Double Dungeon? Who actually killed those monsters? And then later on, after Sung, declines Go, he goes to leave and he walks past Wu and he actually says, "You don't have bad eyes. I wasn't the one that defeated the boss in the Double Dungeon." So it's almost like he's trying to kind of, tell him, look, it's okay that you didn't spot me because I wasn't really that powerful back then. Again, Wu was the one that came to Sung right after the Double Dungeon and, reassessed him and everything like that. And he didn't find anything with Sung. And so he feels like he failed at actually spotting something that he should have spotted. And so Sung's kind of it almost feels like Sung's kind of giving him a pep talk, dude, it wasn't that you have bad eyes. You seen right. And that sort of leads into later on when Wu is talking to Go and they're talking about, is Sung actually a fake ranker? And he's like, no, I think that if he had power back then, he would have saved his people. He would have saved the people in that dungeon. He wouldn't have let them die. Very interesting. Again, that technically is true because when he was in the Double Dungeon, he wanted to help everybody. He was trying to guide people on what to do. And unfortunately, yes, because people, seek survival, they all turned on him. But anyways, the conversation with Go was interesting. Again, this is really kind of, the manhwa gives a little bit of a hint more. I mean, the anime sort of implies it with how he's kind of, the flow of his conversations before he cuts off. But yes, Go right here is seemingly in talking to Sung is looking for a successor. Yes, this guy is getting up there in age. He's getting old. Yes, he's very fit. He keeps himself fit. He's constantly exercising. He's constantly, training himself, which Sung even points out. Despite the fact that I'm in the dungeon, it seems like he's no longer in the front lines. he's still stronger than me. Like, he's still of my level. But Go is actually getting up there in age, so it does look like he's looking for somebody to take over for him. And it does seem like he's sort of implying that Sung could be that person. Yes, Sung's very powerful. He seems like a good dude. I'm guessing he probably looked into him to know that. And yes, technically at the very end there, he makes Go's heart flutter. He gets him all worked up. Like, man, I wish I was a youngster again so I could fight in dungeon alongside young whippersnappers like this. It was dorky. Got him all riled up, and it's give that sense. I think the few scenes that we have seen with Go, he has again, he's keeping himself going. He likes to get in those fights. I'm certain probably when they get in the whole insect island thing, I'm sure they're probably going to get him all wrapped up into it. He's probably going to get involved with the whole situation. But yeah, he again mentioned the idea that the whole reassessment thing with the other machine is just a ploy to get him to stay there. Nobody recruit him so that he can come in and talk to him first. And then, yes, gets in the whole idea of the order in which they have, which is honestly at this point, and I've kind of mentioned this several times before, is honestly scary. It's like the whole thing with Wu and talking about the fact they can't keep S ranks in undercheck. It's like the governments have no power anymore. The governments have no power. The real power really is the hunters. And there's these major hunting guilds that all have that power. But that balance is very fragile. And now once Sung joins one of them, it's going to tilt that scale. He wants him to join him so they could be that sixth guild to kind of overlook the rest of them, which sort of does imply that I guess there's not really that many really powerful people in that group. I mean, you have Go, which obviously, again, seems like he's extremely powerful. Even Sung's saying he's like to my level. Like he's not even out in the battlefield. Yet he's stronger than me. But it doesn't seem like there's that many people in that group that is that powerful. So yes, if the White Tigers decide to take him on, there really isn't that much they can do. But that said, it does seem like the Hunters Association is really what is sort of the glue between the hunters and the government. Because again, the Hunters Association is the ones that's always talking to the government. But yes, he wants them to join and be a part of them. And this is a really big deal for Sung because that means money, that means power, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, again, as mentioned later on, that's not going to give him much access to dungeons and he needs to get stronger. Now, he tells specifically to Go that my life is in the dungeon. It's kind of one of those moments where I kind of wonder what Sung is saying is misinterpreted or a sign of what's to come. In the idea that Sung tells him that he wants to be in the dungeons. He wants to fight. He wants to be in there. Which again, that's what stirs up Go. Like, oh, a fighter. He wants to get in those dungeons and fight things. He knows the thrill of the battle. And that's what, again, gives us a sense that Go likes that thrill of the battle. But as we know, deep inside Sung, he wants to level up and get stronger because he's trying to help his mother and he has the ability to level. Now, again, it could indicate here as well that, yes, is Sung becoming a battle-thirsty person? Is this sort of a sign of his thirst for battle that will eventually overcome any other desires? Like, if it goes this far down the road, could it get to a point where he no longer cares about getting his mother better? He just wants to destroy things. It could. I mean, it could. But yeah, he turns him down, walks out the door. Again, doesn't want to compromise, doesn't want to negotiate. It's like, dude, negotiate with the dude. He could probably get you all the dungeons you want. I don't know really the full-on power structure at this point in, again, reading the manhwa alongside the anime, not knowing anything further. I don't know really the full pull of Go and the Hunters Association. I mean, they could possibly not have much pull there. Again, it does seem like they're supposed to be kind of, again, the glue with them and the government, but it doesn't seem like he has much pull to at least get gates. At least get C rank, B rank gates for him. But yeah, Go afterwards, getting all worked up. And he's like, yeah, I hated when I found out the S rank healers could not cure aging. He wants to stay young and stay fighting with them whippersnappers. But yeah, that's when we get a little brief shot of Hwang. Yes, Hwang survived. We knew he survived, but at the same time, didn't get put in his place. This dude still wants to fight, and so he apparently wants to find an artifact so that he can go take out Sung's dad, and yes, probably go after Sung himself as well. Now, the manhwa has a little bit extra here in the idea that the director comes in there and asks him, is he really a magical beast? You fought him. Is he really a magical beast? And Hwang says, no human could be that. You've seen what he did. He took me down. There's no way that he could be human. Now, it seems like the director takes that word in the anime and just walks out the door and says, when you get better, come see me, whatever. We're going to go see if we can find him. We're not sure if we can beat him or not. But in the manhwa, it actually gives a little more perspective here. The director doesn't think that it's a magical beast. And the reason why is because they have footage of the father, Ilhan. He's actually saving civilians. They actually have footage on the streets and whatnot where they show that he was actually protecting people. So despite the fact that him and Hwang just did a full-on S-rank battle right there and the buildings were destroyed, he, right after knocking him out and telling him to leave me alone, and, you know, you'll regret it if you go after my family, he immediately goes and starts saving lives. And so, yeah, even the director right here is going, are you sure he's a magical beast? Look at this footage. Would a human do that? And he's like, no, he's got to be a magical beast. I'm going to get him. So it does kind of give a hint here that at least Hwang's director, or at least their group, despite the fact they're going to be looking for him, they do realize that he's probably not a magical beast. He is probably a human, just really powerful, and beat the snot out of this stupid guy. It's like we all know who we're talking to, a vindictive jerk right here that has way too much power for his own good. So kind of an interesting little extra that the manhwa has there. Then that's when we have Sung looking into trying to buy some artifacts at the same time. He can't, it's all really expensive. He thinks about actually selling his relic that he has, or artifact, whatever it is, the spell sphere, which at this point, after seeing Choi in action again, I'm like, he's probably going to hand it over to Choi. Like, I think at some point in that dungeon they're in right now, maybe possibly, and it might be in the insect island later on if he gets recruited for that, he's probably going to give him that orb, because I bet you Choi would be insane with that orb. I really do think that he needs to give it. Well, now I think about it, either that or Choi is going to end up dying, and then Sung will arise him and then give him the orb. I don't know. We'll see. It seems too obvious that Choi is going to have it, and he's going to have it either as himself or as an arised. Is it arised? Summoned? But again, here's one of those frustrating moments where it's like he's talking about how he can't sell the orb because people would question where he got it from. But again, it's like, does everybody not know? You can post that you got it from the Red Gate. Like, everybody knows about the Red Gate. Just post that you got it from the Red Gate. Like, this is one of those moments where it's like, what's the difficulty here? Just do this. But no, that's when he finds the posting for the A rank raid. And like I said before, I'm kind of wondering if Choi made that just to kind of lure him in there. Anybody can join it. It's kind of a shocker that it's there. But we do get a little insight into the raids, which is kind of interesting. The manhwa kind of points out the fact that A rank dungeons are enormous. And like we knew before, the gates were kind of measured by the mana waves that are coming from the gate itself. More so pointing the fact that there's two factors behind it, the size of itself and the mana level. That even though a large number of monsters, low rank monsters, can produce a lot of those waves, it's not enough to actually produce an A rank gate. He's pointing out specifically right here, you can get a B rank gate from a lot of low-ranking monsters, but with an A rank, they have to be high-level monsters. So he's basically saying, if you see an A rank, it ain't going to be produced by just having a whole crap ton of little weak monsters kind of producing this bigger flow of mana. Pretty much everything in this dungeon is going to be high-rank monsters. So again, kind of puffing up Choi a little bit in there, and the idea he comes out there and just literally nukes them in one shot. Choi is so powerful, he has a defensive team just to block the back wave of his spell. Again, give him that orb, and he'll literally take out the earth, basically. Sung has a conversation with one of the managers while they're sitting there mining, which does point out the fact that, yes, technically, their whole process is to come in there, take down all the monsters up to the boss, and then leave the boss in the lair, and they all go out for, I don't know, a drink break or something like that. And then all the miners and everybody else comes in to, yes, get all the materials and mine all the materials, but also, and like it kind of point out with Choi coming in there and purposely not charring the body completely, they're coming in there to acquire the bodies of the monsters to take them back out of the dungeon, and apparently they're worth a lot of money. So it's kind of an interesting process that they have here. And yes, technically Sung points out to him, but isn't that kind of dangerous? What if the boss comes out of the lair and comes attacks us? And he's like, yeah, that technically can rarely happen, but he's been working with them for like 3 years, and it's never really happened for them. So he's kind of pointing out the idea that he has been working for them for a long time. This is their process. Yes, it's technically dangerous, but he trusts them. But it's kind of funny that, yes, technically later on, as he goes to go after the boss, Cha shows up. It's like, yeah, probably because she's always there kind of watching, or somebody's always watching at some point. It is kind of funny, though. He does note that, yeah, I could probably go in here, defeat the boss, but then the gate's going to close, and they're going to lose a lot of money, which, yes, technically does get into their process as well, is this is a finely tuned process. The idea that, yes, in order for a high-ranking guild like this to exist, This is their process because they have to acquire a lot of materials. They have to acquire a lot of money. And so this process has to go down, 100%. And so, yes, him going in there to attack the boss is going to screw up everything, probably cost them a lot of money. But yes, finally Cha shows up. That was interesting. But no, I did skip it. But yes, when he first shows up and Choi and Cha come out of the dungeon, it was funny because the manhwa actually shows somebody else, a very distinct looking character. But if for some reason they animated it when it showed, like you could barely see like a horn poking up behind Choi as he's walking out. But like the manhwa just like shows him like right on, like it's like some crazy insect peacock looking person. But apparently the anime doesn't care about them. But no, it was interesting when Cha comes out of there. Sung takes note of her, specifically saying that she looks extremely strong. Like she has a very powerful and unique aura about her. Now, yes, the aura itself does look very similar to Go's in the idea that it's kind of a bright white. So it does kind of imply some similarity there. But he's saying that it's terrifying and that it's different than most other auras. So I'm kind of curious if that'll end up being like specifically something special about Cha, or is it just specifically about her strength? Because he does say that she is probably stronger than Choi. She's probably stronger than him. And yes, even on the level of the Chairman Go. So he's saying that not only can she beat Choi, who is literally above her in rank in front of her, but she's probably to the level of the Chairman, who again, Sung has said, yeah, he's my levels, even though he's not even fighting on the front line. So it is technically, yes, buttering up Cha quite a bit and how extremely powerful she is as an S rank. And yes, so powerful that she noticed Sung. Takes note of Sung. I am kind of at this point kind of wondering if there will be something specific about auras, and that there is a lot of difference in every character's kind of aura they have. Yes, obviously some being a little more darker or whatever. It usually kind of just is put to something that is like malicious or whatever. Often will have a dark aura. But there is, yes, reddish looking auras. There is kind of more glowing gold like Sha is. So I'm kind of curious if at some point there will be a difference with them. So anyhow, Cha is mad at Sung going to sneak into the boss room. We'll see how that turns out. He'll probably say that I had to go to the bathroom and I got lost. He's probably just going to claim that he was trying to get to the bathroom and he got lost, but we'll see. But anyhow, that's my thoughts on this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed my video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, you want to support y'all more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. But until next time, I'll take care.